Well, we boldly told you that the sequel trilogy was going to be spun off probably from the rest of the timeline of Star Wars because the execs at the House of Mouse have said, hey, Filoni, we don't care what you do, allegedly, just get rid of it so we can move on and make money again. Well, guess what? The very next day, look what's on the way. First of all, Geeks and Gamers covering the rumor that we put out there. And again, take it with a grain of salt, ladies and gentlemen. The quote here says, if true, this would be one of the most dramatic franchise shifts in modern Hollywood history.
A phenomenally written sentence by a great writer.
That's right. And 7.6 million views. Actually, Marv, it's higher than that. I don't want to hit the refresh, but what's it?
Yeah, it's last I saw it was, what did I say, 8.6? Something like that, 8.4?
Like that. So millions and millions and millions. And this is the first time I've ever wanted a community note. Have you seen the proposed community note, Marv?
No, what is it, that the Rey movie is actually happening?
Okay, check this out. Note is needed because we're that Park Place. Here it is. This is the one I want. Despite the rumor, there is still a movie set after the sequel trilogy in development starring Daisy Ridley.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, you know, there's still a trilogy coming from Rian Johnson too.
Please, I want that community note so badly. All right, what has Disney done though? What happened today? Well, from El Carbo. Says this speaks for itself, doesn't it? The sequel trilogy is Jaws 4's level of dead in the public imagination. This is, ladies and gentlemen, from Nielsen. You can see here, well, you might not be able to see it's teeny weeny, itsy bitsy, but it says source Nielsen streaming content ratings based on total minutes viewed among persons 2 years and older. All right, let's get this out of the way. Andor, the second season released in this last year, and it has 9 hours of content. All of the movies that you see have about 2 hours of content. So if we're basing this based on minutes watched, Andor would likely still not be number one if we were just going on, hey, what'd you watch? But because there's so much content for Andor, it's at number one based on the way that they're calculating this. Fine, we don't care. When it comes to the movies, what's number one? Star Wars: A New Hope. What's number two? Surprisingly, maybe Star Wars: The Phantom Menace. But probably because people want to go back and watch the prequels and they start with that one.
Yep.
Number three, Star Wars: The Empire Strikes Back. Number four, Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah.
Number five, this one is surprising me, Attack of the Clones. I would have thought Return of the Jedi would have beat it. Return of the Jedi comes in the next place. And then the only other film on here, Rogue One, A Star Wars Story. In the top 10, not a single sequel trilogy movie, despite being modern Disney Star Wars. But even worse than that, no Mandalorian. The series that put Disney Plus on the map, the series that got them their very first number one, defeated The Office to become the number one streaming show on television. Take that, friends. Mandalorian has fallen so badly that it's not even in the top 10. Boba Fett? No way. Obi-Wan? Nuh-uh. And the darn Acolyte that we've heard, it's trending, it's number one. No, and it never was. Lauren?
I just wanted to point out one thing for clarification. This was on May 4th, 2025, so it's a year ago. Andor had just released the week before. So that's another reason why it's up there in that top 10.
Yeah, that's why Tales from the Underworld is on there too, because it had just released as well.
That's a good point.
But yeah, but this still, it's, you know, nobody's watching the sequel trilogy. No one's watching The Acolyte. When they actually listed all the shows that people were watching, as we highlighted on the geeksandgamers.com article, like Skeleton Crew and The Mandalorian were discussed, not in like the top 10, but they were saying like they did chart. The Acolyte and the sequel trilogy are not mentioned once in the Variety article.
Now, this is landing in the mainstream. Fox News is covering this, okay? So it's landed into the normie space. Fox News reports new streaming data paints shockingly grim picture for Disney's awful Star Wars sequels. The Force Awakens, Last Jedi, and The Rise of Skywalker all failed to crack the top 10 most streamed Star Wars films last May 4th. Now, folks, why are we going through all of this with you? Because, well, isn't it interesting? Isn't it strange? Don't we find it bizarre that the very first time Kathleen Kennedy is gone for a May the 4th, suddenly Nielsen has the data. Suddenly Nielsen puts this out. Suddenly Nielsen embarrasses the sequel trilogy and everything that Kathleen Kennedy was about. And I wonder, did Disney want this out into the public? Because Nielsen hasn't done this ever before. Did Disney want this to start the shift of the narrative?
I believe so.
I do too.
Yeah, because the Variety article's point is it never mentions the sequel trilogy. It's not the point of the article is not look how bad Star Wars is doing. The point is look how good Star Wars is doing, because it's saying Star Wars was streamed for 33 billion minutes. That is the main idea of Variety's article. So they're like, look, people are still watching Star Wars. Here's the proof. And then you look at the things they're actually watching, and it's proof that they are not actually watching Disney Star Wars, except for things like Rogue One.
Right. And here's the thing. You have people online debating whether or not the sequel trilogy is really popular. I every day I see people saying, actually, The Last Jedi is the best Star Wars movie that was ever made. And I think, well, that's why there's another trilogy on the way from Rian Johnson any day now, right?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the corner.
Any day.
The Acolyte it's trending on Disney Plus. It's in the top 10. And somebody had to tell the truth about this, but it's not popular to do so. Disney would have not liked this years ago. Nielsen did it. Nielsen finally came out. Wiz, I know that you are sometimes skeptical of these sorts of things. What do you think about the idea that Disney decided it's time, Nielsen, go ahead and release it, and let's reset the conversation here?
Well, I think it's something that that Marv and Lauren and I have spoken about, and we'll continue speaking about now. The money people are calling the shots now. That's the only way forward. We actually just saw in real time right now, we just finished the Maul Shadow Lord show. It was an unsatisfying conclusion. We have Mandalorian and Grogu on the horizon. That's not shaping up to be a moneymaker. The story and context there we don't fully know, but it's not going to be a moneymaker. Which means that this team, whether Kathy Kennedy's involved or not, this team is incapable of making good Star Wars, to the point where now the only possibility is that some kind of money people or leadership, or maybe it is Josh tomorrow, somebody is coming in and saying things need to change regardless of what direction. Something's got to give. And so whether it is Disney or not, I don't care. Nielsen and whoever gave them the thumbs up to release this information is trying to force Disney to make a move, or trying to force Lucasfilm to make a move.
I think it's also, psychological. They released it on May the 4th. They released it after Kathleen's gone to kind of, show the fandom or the audience, like, see, we blame Kathleen too. We're on your side. Mm-hmm. In an attempt to try and win back some of our trust without really having to do anything just yet.
For those who they've been consuming nothing but the sequel trilogy is very popular. It's an outspoken minority that don't like it. Mm-hmm. The Disney Plus shows are actually super duper well received. The Acolyte was robbed of a season 2. I wonder how they're handling this at all, to find out from Nielsen, which is that's the industry standard, that they believe the inverse of the truth, that people are actually watching the originals and the prequels, and that's just about it. That's just about it.
I wonder if Nielsen is going to get any threats, or
I'm sure they will.
Telling them they should delete themselves for not putting Acolyte in the top 10.
Probably. Because it's Nielsen's fault. Pro, one thing to point out, Kathy has always said that, there are more Star Wars stories ahead of us than there are behind us. And they always said that it's, the sequel trilogies are for the young generation, the Gen Alphas, the Gen Zs. If you pull up that Geeks and Gamers article again, there is a very telling graphic in there. Specifically about not this one, the one that I put in the private chat about this specific thing with the ratings, because there is a graphic that actually breaks down the most watched thing by generation, and I think it's fascinating as to what. Here it is. If you scroll down a bit, you'll see it. It's so that's just what kind of content. That's the top 10. Right here. Gen Alpha, The Mandalorian. Gen Z, Clone Wars. Millennials and Gen X, Andor, and Baby Boomers, The Mandalorian.
I've seen this earlier today, and I've really got to think about it, because I don't know. Okay, here's one of the things about it. I actually tweeted about this. Do titles include movies, or are titles just shows?
I think it's just because of the number of episodes, maybe. I'm not 100% sure, but it might just be shows. But in which case, no Acolyte, no Skeleton Crew. And if it's involving movies, you're looking at, they're watching these shows. They're not watching the sequel trilogy.
This is another strike, of course, on the Acolyte. And all those people who actually believe that it was trending again. It's number 10, it's number 9. It was no such thing. Disney just makes this kind of stuff up.
And, we talk about The Mandalorian and how disappointed we are with it currently. But remember, there were 2 very solid seasons of that show that people did actually like.
There were great seasons. And then they jettisoned it all to fire Gina and to make sure that Luke was not involved in the next season and all that sort of stuff. Lauren, we're going through so much of this, and I know you have much to say. Lauren, what are your thoughts on within, honestly, 12 hours of the report that we put out there, viewed by millions? Within 12 hours, Nielsen was going ahead and saying, yeah, sequel trilogy is dead. Nope, nobody's watching it. Nobody cares.
The most interesting thing to me about today is that it's May the 4th and no major announcements have been made. Mm-hmm. They have dropped, I think, 3 short little pseudo trailers for The Mandalorian and Grogu. There's been some talk about getting influencers in to watch the first 20 minutes.
Don't forget the chemical garlic, Lauren. I mean, Wizard loves the chemical garlic burger.
No, I didn't. I don't. Yeah.
Go ahead.
To Lauren's point. We got clips and Burger King. That's it. That's all we got for May the 4th.
They also re-released a trailer to give the announced release date of Galactic Racers. This is not what I expected out of today. They are not acting like a company that has confidence. And I've been saying for a while that I have believed that they have been making a pivot internally, that for the last year they have been evaluating and trying to determine how to move forward. My personal belief is that they were finally panicked, but I didn't think they were this panicked. Today would have been the day to make some kind of an announcement of something. And they haven't.
Lauren,
that's not a good sign.
I'm not suggesting this happened, but would it not be funny if Lucasfilm peeps woke up this morning, they had an Ahsoka season 2 trailer? Again, I'm not saying this happened, but wouldn't it be funny if there was an Ahsoka season 2 trailer and it was going to be all about the world between worlds? Change is coming. And then they saw what we had done and they said, well, shoot. Now.
Abort.
I'm kind of curious to see. They've got to start announcing something sometime soon. So part of me feels like what they're worried about right now is they already know that The Mandalorian and Grogu pre-sale numbers are bad. The buzz around the movie isn't good despite their marketing efforts. I think they're worried about stepping on themselves here, so that's maybe why they're being quiet today. After The Mandalorian and Grogu comes into and leaves the theaters, do they remain quiet, or how do they try and build buzz? Are they going to eventually drop something regarding Starfighter? I don't know, but it's interesting. I thought at least today we'd get some gaming announcements. And
I thought we'd get an Ahsoka season 2 release date.
I figured that was one thing. I was pretty sure we were going to get a Jedi, the conclusion of the trilogy announcement. I sort of thought we might hear something about Fate of the Old Republic as well, even though it's early in development. It's like this is the day, and yet crickets. So to me, this is really underscoring something is definitely going on, and I think right now a lot of people I think are probably in a bit of a cold sweat.
And I totally forgot about Starfighter. Like, you'd think we would have at least gotten something about Starfighter. We haven't heard anything about that movie in months now.
Is it in production yet?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's already. I think it's done, yeah.
I wasn't wrong. I thought that we would get a Ryan Gosling clip today where he would say, hey, we've wrapped up production on Starfighter. It's a great movie. Can't wait to bring it out to you next year. Blah, blah, blah. Like, I thought we would get stuff like that all day long with a drip, drip, drip. All day long, we got nothing.
One other thing to point out here, this is Dave Filoni's first Star Wars day as the head of Lucasfilm. You would have thought they would have thrown a ticker tape parade about all the exciting new things that they have cooking up. Man, it has never been more exciting to be a Star Wars fan. We've got so much great stuff cooking, and it all kicks off with The Mandalorian and Grogu later this month. None of it.
You are so right.
I always am.
I think the box office tracking must be worse than what we're hearing. That's what I'm starting to wonder. So You got Variety and the Hollywood Reporter saying it's going to make 80 million on the 4-day, probably 60 million on the 3. That's really bad. They're acting like it's worse. And I wonder, do they already have the signs that say, "Oh no, oh no"?
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm wondering how much the Matt Maloney story shook them, because that was their target audience telling them, we don't care about the Mandalorian.
Yep.
That's not the story they want coming out. And that bomb dropped. I think that they have a media story right now that they can't spin. I don't think they have any way to counter it. They're in a real pickle. It's everything that we've talked about. All of their options are bad. None of them are good. And
whoa! Andy is waiting on that Ray movie to be announced. That they've got the script and they've got Charmine ready to go. Daisy's happy about it. Come on, Andy. We're going to get a community note anytime about that, right? Right?
Oh, I'm with bated breath. I'm waiting.
Andy,
Hot
what is
Toys.
this thing you've sent me in the back? Should I put that on screen? Do you want me to put that
Yeah,
on screen?
Hot Toys has gone crazy with a whole bunch of releases for Star Wars for May the 4th. But oddly enough, there's nothing that has to do with Ahsoka or we've got the Ahsoka from the Clone Wars. You got two versions.
Which you know is making people angry. It's making some folks angry online. You've heard about that, right?
Yeah, last year they put out a bunch of what's the Mandalorian Jedi girl from Rebels. They put out an action figure of her.
Sabine.
Yes,
Sabine
thank you. They put out now in the last week. we've gotten 2 Qui-Gons, another Anakin, an Ahsoka, a Yoda, Commander Gree. It's all prequel and all classic figures that have come out. Now this is going towards your hardcore fan base collector. These things they're well over $300 a piece. You're going to have an artisan Qui-Gon Jinn that's probably going to be over $400 that will probably sell out very quickly. So these are figures these are for collectors that are deep in Star Wars lore. They want to have a representation of things that they love on the shelf. So there's still a market there because you see people buying a lot of these and they hold their value. So although it's kind of changing a little bit because like the quality level is going up so much, but it shows that there is a market here for people that want good Star Wars. They still want something and they're just waiting for something to come along that's going to be good. There's a market there, but they just can't seem to get out of their own way and realize what's right in their face of what is good Star Wars.
I keep making this point ad nauseum. I keep saying those AI videos on YouTube, people love them and they get amazing views, and the people that just react to them get amazing views.
Yes.
These are fan created stories, and as Lauren said on Culture Crossfire tonight, some of them aren't the greatest story. Like it is very like pedestrian kind of storytelling, but people can sense the passion in it and the love for the franchise, and a lot of it is stuff that we always wish we could have seen. Heck, some of it has Ahsoka in it. There's a 4-parter which is Luke and Ahsoka traveling the galaxy after Return of the Jedi, and it's awesome.
There you go.
Would have been
Well,
nice.
I'll give you, Wiz, if you guys want to have the final word and weigh in on this. May the 4th, kind of a dud this year. It comes 2 days ahead of Disney's next big earnings call. No fanfare whatsoever. Not even really anything out of Fortnite. I don't know. I kind of feel badly for them at this point.
to
Maybe.
be fair, the last time they tried to do something with Fortnite, they had Palpatine's return announced there. It's like there are not geniuses working in their department trying to figure out how should we position these movies. I think that may be part of why that may be part of why they're staying quiet today.
No, the last time they did something with Fortnite, they had Vader, a Vader AI that you could talk to, and then he started saying some very not so nice things because the players were getting him to say the not so nice things, so they had to shut it down rather quick.
You mean Vader actually became a bad guy?
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Wiz, final thoughts on this one. It's been a wild 24 hours.
I think just to kind of amplify what Lauren has said is, and I feel it too, we should have been getting trailers. We should have seen Ahsoka season 2. We should have seen more. There should have been more of especially with Mandalorian and Grogu being in the position that it is, where they know it's not in the best spot, but they need to hype people up. They got to tell people that it's there. They got to excite people more than just Burger King crowns. And the fact that there's nothing, that's concerning. But then to double down on that, we just got the end of this Darth Maul show. It leaves so much to be desired. It is not a good show, but the optics, and I'm not going to spoil how it ends, but the final fight is the kind of thing that if you flash us back to 2007, it is the kind of thing that people would have gone bananas for. The concept that these characters firstly would have met, but then secondly would have fought. That's the kind of thing that if it was his own movie, you could have had a whole story there, and it could have been something that made millions and millions of dollars. And now it is on Disney Plus. It is relegated to the second screen. And as you're watching it, all you could think is, I don't care. And that is how, if that's how Star Wars audiences feel, I can't imagine what the normie audience feels. Star Wars, Pro, you said you kind of feel bad for them. I don't feel bad at all. They made their bed. Now they got to live in it.
They've done it to themselves. And what is it with Disney Plus shows that every season feels like prologue? Every season feels like setup. So you watch these seasons. Yeah, right. You watch these seasons and you feel like you're waiting for it to start. And by the time you get to the finale, you realize, oh, it's just setting up for the next season. So the next season it's going to be action packed. And then you get there, and again,
it's that Danny, is, I call that the Walking Dead model, because the Walking Dead ruined TV because it started this trend of no matter what happens, the last 5 minutes of the episode are specifically designed to make sure that no matter what, you are here next week, even if the rest of the episode was garbage. Everything is cliffhanger.
Well, let me say this as we get ready to wrap up the conversation. No stuff coming out. We're supposed to be hyped to the max for Mandalorian and Grogu. That's not happening. It kind of feels like we are at the ripcord moment, because what happens when a company makes a huge pivot? You get a lot of silence. I'll give you an example for this. Tesla, about a year ago, they released the big update to their Model X and their Model S vehicles, their premier vehicles at the time. And it was pathetic. And I was like, I enjoyed paying attention to cars and all this kind of stuff. And I thought, why would they have this update for their vehicles that's pathetic? Less than 12 months later, we found out those were being wrapped up, and they were switching to a different model for Tesla, no longer having the Model S and the Model X. And I just look at this with Star Wars and I say, May the 4th is out, Mando's coming out, and there's nothing. Maybe they're getting ready to pull that ripcord after all.
It's a super spring.